Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Building TGIF, hit that thumbs up. I need y'all to say hello to the like button. Make sure you guys are thumbing up, thumbing up, thumbing up, thumbing up, thumbing up, thumbing up as you are coming in, whether you are a part of the replay gang, whether you are actively in these streets with me in real time, or rather you are in fact. Did I say a part of the replay gang? Oh, whether you are a bush baby. Okay. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Yeah. I don't know what type of live stream this is about to be. I don't know what type of mood I am in. I know what I want to say. I just don't know how I'm going to be saying it, child. Okay, so we're just going to let the Holy Ghost lead me accordingly. All right. As you guys are coming into the sanctuary on this Friday, go ahead and once again thumbs up this button. Because thumbing up the button, pressing like on the live stream not only helps with YouTube algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another Consciouztv member and telling them to get their asses in here because the king is in fact king. All right, shout out to all the new subbies. Last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be a YouTube community wall, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your MySpace, dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. Hell, put it on the ops channel. I don't really give a damn where you lay the link. Just let them whores know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. With no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let me go ahead and speak to the conscious crew who in the building. As you guys are entering, please thumbs up and bully that thumbs up button the way that Trump is trying to bully this country for the second term. Shout out to Cynthia. Hey, Miss Brave. Or, hey, Mr. Brave. Hey, boo. What's going on, Carolyn? What's going on, Sexy Nessa? Hey, LT. Hey, Katie. Hey, Bill. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Miss Jordan. I don't give a damn about race flopping ass Candace Coon. She can't tell me nothing, girl. She ain't even black her goddamn self. Okay, her ass probably is Irish and Poland and Afghanistani in her damn self. Maybe the hell with goddamn Candace. Oh, I don't give a damn what that bitch got to say. What's going on, Miss Lady? Hey, Tasha. Hey, Gail. Hey, High Mental Abilities. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Cushboo. Hey, Sabra. Hey, Danny. Hey, Nicole. What's going on, Bougie Barbie? And last but not least, okay, the dirty hoe from the South. Reckless Logic. What's going on, Heifer?
Hey, what's going on? Girl, this bitch love trying me, don't she? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Land of Reckless Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack that notification bell so do not miss any more posts from us. And let's get straight into this video.
On period. Hey, Brittany. Hey, y'all. Hey, Sister Gal. Hey, Philando. Hi, y'all. How y'all doing? So, speaking of that comment that Miss Jordan had made about Candish raccoons, that's a great disclaimer for us before we go forward in this dialogue. See, for me, for me and my man, I can only speak for me and my man, which is all y'all men, girl, for me, this vote is not about ethnicity. I don't give a damn what Kamala Harris is. I don't give a damn if she ADOS. I don't give a damn if she FDA. I don't give a damn if she is not black at all. I don't give a damn if she's a person of color, a bitch of color, a caterpillar of color, a non-colored caterpillar. I don't give a fuck if she is a toasted albino bitch. I don't give a damn. So I don't give a damn what the hell she over there lying about. It's irrelevant to me. The only thing that matters to me is making sure that Donald Trump does not get to speak to me ever again and does not ever get to have any type of an executive or authoritarian power over my motherfucking ass and gaslight the hell out of MAGA and have them hoes scaling these damn streets and scaling the goddamn walls of the goddamn Capitol and ooting our children and ooting black and brown people for the most dumbest of reasons, like simply sharing a sliding board with a white hoe. Okay, I ain't got no interest in returning back to the version of America that the KKK had in a goddamn chokehold because they thought that Trump and his foolery and his elitist, capitalistic, apathetic presence in this country as a president was a permission slip to act a goddamn fool on black and brown people, baby. Okay? And because I had to live through the reality and the actuality of Trump's actual America, okay, I'm taking my chances on Kamala Harris's hypothetical version of America. Okay? Because in all the critiques and conversations that's being had out here about Miss Kamala and how she not like us and she ain't gonna do shit for us and she ain't gonna do this and she ain't about that and she ain't got this and she ain't got that, bitch. All that is still yet conjecture and a hyper-damn-thetical. I know factually, bitch, what Trump's America actually looks like, baby, because I had to live it, sugar. Okay? So until I have an objective reason to not cast my vote for Kamala Harris, to not vote blue, bitch, I'm voting blue, bitch, because I know objectively what a red state country looks like, baby, what a red vote leads to, honey. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Trump's presidency actually was like, okay, since everybody acting so deaf, dumb, and damn delusional all of a sudden now that it's a toasted woman of color out here running for president, baby. All of a sudden now, Trump is MVP. All of a sudden now, baby, you know, Trump is the head KKK Klansman in charge, baby. Okay, he's the big dad that everybody been missing, honey, but y'all went out of y'all way to get that man up out of the White House, and now y'all seemingly low-key, you know, very covertly trying to make an argument for Trump's second round without saying it, but you're saying it when you are going out of your way to make people disinterested in Kamala Harris's version of this country, because I don't know where the hell else y'all think the vote gonna go, baby. Okay, because even no vote is gonna help Trump because of how tight the race is. So yes, for all the folk who saying, I don't fuck with Kamala, but I'm also not pro-Trump. You are pro-Trump covertly because the race is literally pussy lip to pussy lip, baby. It's dickhead to dickhead, bitch. It's ball sack to ball sack. It's areola to areola hoe. Okay? And because it's that close, honey, it ain't like there's a large marginal gap between Trump and Kamala. It's literally titty to damn titty, bitch. That means that every vote to the left matters. It means that not voting damn matters, baby. It's going to impact who crosses that finish line either way you cut it. So there ain't no way for you to say, I don't fuck with Kamala Harris, but I'm also not endorsing Trump. Therefore, I'm either going to not vote at all, which is going to help Trump because you're not voting Kamala, who are going to need every vote she can because it's titty to titty competition, because it's areola to areola competition. Or I'm gonna vote for some damn party that practically don't goddamn exist aside from in my damn imagination at this goddamn point. Okay? If you literally are gonna vote any other way but not Kamala Harris, bitch, you are in fact voting for Big Back. Oh, yes, she is. Oh, yes, she are. It ain't no other way, baby, to flip, dip, fry, and die and lay that apple pie, baby. Before we go any further, Reckless, you got anything you want to say? So far?
No, ma'am. No, I'm good. So far.
Oh, okay. So let's go back a little bit before we go forward a little bit. But not before I shout out one of my baby mamas who done sent me old nasty cash app, baby. Okay, shout out to my baby mother Kathy for the old nasty piece of child support check. Thank you, baby mother Kathy. Love you a long time, baby. Oh, and speaking of that, before we go further, I want to make the disclaimer. I'm still standing in the celebratory glory and the celebratory unity that was had as a result of Miss Kamala Harris stepping into the presidency, girl, because I don't recall the last time that I bear witness to the country actually coming together. So I'm still, high, metaphorically speaking, not Whitney Houston high, baby. Okay, but metaphorically speaking, bitch. Okay, not Wendy Wiggins high. Metaphorically, philosophically, allegorically speaking, off of seeing the outpouring of support from so many diverse groups coming together to absolutely not allow Trump to make America niggerless again. Okay, so shout out to the Karens for Harris group who came together, girl. They broke Zoom history, sent in millions of dollars of donations. Shout out to the Hispanics for Kamala Harris group, girl. Shout out to the black men for Kamala Harris. Okay, shout out to white boys for Kamala Harris, girl. I just couldn't believe it. It shook me, bitch. It almost brought a tear to my eye. If I wasn't so pretty, bitch, I would have cried. Oh, okay. It just really I don't recall the last time I seen this country just bring all of its diversity into one space, bitch, and combine all of our goddamn infinity stones, okay? And as we are shy of 3 weeks away, girl, okay, from one of the most legendary, iconic, and life-altering political decisions that we're going to make so far as a modern, contemporary American people, we're going to have to back all of that verbiage, all of that excitement, all of that campaigning, all of that funding, all of that sponsoring with action and get our asses down to that booth by any means necessary. And when I say any means necessary, bitch, I don't give a damn if you got to put a registered GUN to another bitch's head and steal her car to get your ass down there, bitch. That's what you do. Okay? Any means necessary. I don't care if you got to legally seize the hospital helicopter rescue choppers, bitch. Okay, and have it drop your ass off down there to your nearest voting booth, bitch. You get your ass down there. Okay? You got to make it happen if you don't want Trump to make America niggerless again. If you don't want Trump to make America divisive again. If you don't want Donald Trump raising the goddamn blood pressure of the country again, you got to get your asses down there and you got to vote blue, baby. You got to do it, baby. Or, yes, you mail-in votes, okay? However you able to legally do it, baby. You got to do it, baby. Whatever floats your boat, whatever helps you out of. That's what you got to do, child. All right. Now, I have been off this whole political thing ever since Sean Diddy Puffy Love Combs the goddamn third done got his ass indicted, baby. Okay, it done had my damn channel in a chokehold, but reckless, all logic ass, pulled me back into the political headspace and had me watching all this shit yesterday, which got this conversation started. Okay, so if you missed yesterday or last night's stream with me and Reckless, okay, go ahead and check that out from last night. All right, we was talking about everything going on with Kamala Harris, and then of course things have continued to pop off because I made a post on my community wall a post that was shared by T.S. Madison, which we are going to go to her page, just where I got my post from, where I got the content from. And, you know, it just went hand in hand with the argument that I was making in last night's stream. So as you guys once again are rolling into the stream, whether you are a Bush baby, part of the Replay Gang, or active right now, please thumbs up, and bully that like button. All right. So courtesy of T.S. Madison's page, girl, because, you know, last night I was really, you know, wanting somebody to make, you know, Trump make sense, because I've been asking for months now. You know, I'm very open to hearing, you know, and to hearing a convincing argument for why Trump makes sense. Okay, y'all know we've been busting down on Trump. I've been telling you guys that Trump is a goddamn liar. You guys already know that. He lied to us about Carisha 19, girl. Okay, lied to us for months. Okay, and allowed that twisted ass mad scientist to create all them goddamn juices that done fucked everybody's menstrual cycle up, fucked everybody's cardiac up, done fucked everybody's pregnancy up, baby. Okay, that motherfucking juice, baby, was diabolical and a goddamn apocalyptic, bitch. It pretty much acted just like the number 666 on the bitch's head, baby. Okay, y'all know Trump was with all the shits, baby, because he even brought into the stocks for the ventilators. Okay, so while he was also lying about that alien foreign substance touching the American land, he also profited from Americans dying and being sick and ill. So, okay, him and his political peers also brought into the patents for that disgusting juice that claimed over 1 million American lives. Okay, so I ain't really got to convince y'all how much of a liar he is. I mean, the nigga lied to his own wife when he said, you know, he was running the country when he was instead up in Stormy Daniels' puss. Okay, so I ain't really got to spend too much time convincing y'all, baby, that he's a damn liar. Y'all already know that, baby. Okay, he is a convicted felon, for God's sake. So, you know, I know I ain't got to do too much damn convincing up here. I know that ain't what I got to really do, right? So in that commentary from yesterday, girl, you know, I was saying, and I've been saying, yeah, the juice, baby. That shit that they forced y'all to put into y'all nostrils and y'all eardrums and y'all veins so y'all can work, so y'all can rent, so that y'all can buy and sell, bitch. That PSYOP program that was preparing y'all and conditioning y'all for the 666 in the mark of the beast, baby. That shit that's out here that got hoes in wheelchairs, honey. Okay, done turned y'all into paralegics, baby. Yes, that particular juice. Yes, God, which is why we're not going to have a military in the next 5 years, because medical experts have whistleblowed and came forward and let it be known that that juice, that don't spell that shit in my chat. Delete that shit, bitch. Delete that shit, reckless.
Sorry.
Y'all better use cold language, girl. I'm gonna go into my damn system and block that damn word out as soon as we done.
Well, one of y'all deleted.
But yes, that word there, the juice, the AKA, the BKA, the CKA, medical experts, military, medical personnel has came forward. You know, I've broke all this down on my channel. Okay, I can't tell y'all where the video at, bitch. I know there's so much content, child, but just type in something, okay? It'll be somewhere, bitch. Okay, if I find the video, I'll post it to the community wall, girl. Have already said that because of how damaging that juice has been and how much it's escalated every type of issue you can imagine in people's bodies, from women having stillborns, miscarriages, newborn babies coming out deformed at alarming rates, girl. I think we're at 80% in some countries, girl, where they are not even seeing a so-called healthy, normal baby and haven't seen one for years now. Okay? So many military personnel, soldiers, and vets now have all type of cerebral issues, neurological issues, cardiac arrest issues, clotting, girl. It is a mess. Okay, so medical experts are saying that we're not even going to have a fully functional military within the next 5 years, which is why, courtesy of Project 2025 mandate, they want our high schoolers, they want our juniors and seniors, before they graduate, to complete a military entrance exam. Because in the next few years, baby, we won't have a military to really speak of if we don't get to replacing the soldiers that juice and that the federal government genocided and handicapped intentionally for profit and for population control. So they're wanting to start back with the draft. They're wanting to federalize and legislate the draft, baby. And they're wanting our children to not per se go to college, to not per se go off and live their dreams as musicians and artists and scientists and world leaders and community organizers. No, 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 no. They want to make them the intellectual property of the state. Hell, the intellectual property of the government. Hell, the intellectual property of the U.S. motherfucking army, bitch. So, as Trump is attempting, what's going on, Reese G? What's going on, Belle? Hey, Auntie Jace. Hey, y'all. What's going on, Seasons? Hey, Marina. Hey, Her Story. Hey, Jake. Hey, Jackie. Hey, y'all. So, Trump been attempting, you all know, to I don't know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea. I don't know. It's not. I ain't read it. I ain't seen it, bitch. I ain't flipped through it. I ain't edited it. Don't nobody around me know what it is. But yet, at every single Trump campaign rally, he is citing verses from Project 2025. And I told you all to look out for this. Because, see, Project 2025, which is the extreme right wing's world vision for this country, it leaked before they had an opportunity to properly market it. And it ultimately wasn't ever supposed to leak and be available to the public. But because of the light and love forces of the universe, the diabolical plans of these wicked gargoyle coffin sleeping ass weirdos who run our country, it was soiled. Their plans were spoiled. And that mandate got into the hands of all of us who got to read the nearly 1,000-page memo, prepared, organized, and front and center for all of the chess players who will have an opportunity to control the Senate, to control Congress, and to press all the nice buttons from the Oval Office. And despite Trump trying to distance himself from Project 2025, you guys thumbs up the video, he has nonetheless been quoting from it. One of those Project 2025 initiatives has been criminalizing abortions, making women's medical records available so that they can not only actually criminalize those who are seeking abortions, but even worse, those who have already had them are to be criminalized, jailed, and sentenced, and imprisoned. Another one of those Project 2025 initiatives that Trump is distancing himself from, but nonetheless is perpetuating and pushing. What was the initiative yesterday? What were we doing? What were we talking about? Reckless. Oh, qualified immunity for police officers. Remember, he sat down in front of black journalists who questioned him about, would you still be a proponent? Would you still be a supporter of qualified immunity for police officers, even in the face of what happened to Sonia Massey, the innocent black woman who called law enforcement to reinforce the motherfucking law and regulate as she thought there was an intruder and was popped in her face in her kitchen for doing nothing more than rebuking the white, overzealous, impatient, and attitudey officer who took her life. And he said, yes, I would still be a proponent and a supporter and call for qualified immunity of officers, even in the face of them unjustly unaliving Black and brown people. Oh, but it got even more interesting because I told you guys Trump was going to not use the term Project 2025, but because it's his actual plan for America, because it's his actual format, it's his blueprint, is what his actual administration stands for, that he was going to be citing the verses from it. And this is the problem with being ignorant and being uneducated, because if you have not educated yourself on Project 2025, that means you don't know when he is quoting from Project 2025 Bible. If you have not chose to indulge any of the commentary provided by amazing content creators like myself, who, you know, read a condensed version for you all, if you have not directly exposed yourself to the memo itself, you're not going to know the policies, the plans, the agendas, and the initiatives that he's speaking that come directly out of his pages, such as his most recent talking point, which is Trump's plans to close the Department of Education if reelected. Says he will defend schools who teach slavery, though, in their curriculum. And of course he won't, because Trump also has been against, what they call that shit? Reckless, help me out here. What's that shit that they call it? What's the name for the curriculum about slavery in school?
Oh, critical race theory.
Yeah, he's actually been against critical race theory. But yet he wants to defund. Oh, no. Wait a minute. I got the caption wrong, bitch. Trump on his plans to close the Department of Education if reelected, and says he will defund schools who actually teach critical race theory curriculum. And guess where all of that is from, you guys? Project 2025. Okay? They want to defund public schools. They want to rewrite history. They want to suppress truth and information and free speech. They want a deeply censored country where you and I no longer have the luxury, the liberty, nor the First Amendment to speak our motherfucking mind about the motherfucking side effects. So I'm going to let you hear Trump speak to this himself, courtesy of baby mama T.S. Madison. Let's go ahead and do that old nasty piece of fair use. Oh, yes, let's do it. All right. Check this shit out. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me restart this. All right, check this out.
Anything to do with school choice, but also separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
Wow. They're going to close. They're going to shut down. Now, of course, you all know who the fuck that's going to disproportionately impact Black and brown people. Okay? Who currently do not have in place any alternative to prepare for a defunded public school system. Not only does the public school system act as a 8-hour-long daycare for hardworking, average underclass Americans, while they slave away at jobs that overwork them and underpay them so that they can put whatever level of food they can on the table for their families and whatever level of roofing they can over the heads of their families. But there are currently no alternatives put into place to help subsidize that education that won't be there, which is shit anyway. And guess what? A part of this classist, elitist, systemic, outright, overt extermination of the underclass, the children of underclass parents are going to be the only kids who are mandated and subjected to a military entrance exam. Because what I forgot to mention earlier when I talked about the Project 2025 memo and mandate is that military entrance exam would only be for federally funded schools, public schools, children who attend public schools. It's not going to be for those in private schoolings, those who are homeschool. Of course, this is about disproportionately and covertly targeting, exploiting, downright enslaving, or in some instances, unaliving the lower and underclass.
Come on, classism.
Now, let's hear from a woman far more articulate than I, Miss Joy Reid, who's going to talk about Project 2025. Check this out.
Today signed into law a bill establishing a new federal department. It's the Department of Education, something he had promised in his 1976 election campaign. It will be the 13th cabinet-level agency of the government. It will take over 150 or more educational programs now in the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare.
Republicans despise the Department of Education for a number of reasons. One reason, it's easier to sell terrible Republican policies to a compliant public that's not getting a quality education from a weakened public school system. Another reason is the department's mission to foster equal access to education by prohibiting discrimination and ensuring equal access. That runs counter to what Christian nationalists want, which is de facto segregation. Now, before I go any further, you have to remember that after the Supreme Court banned school segregation in 1954, not everyone, including people like Bull Connor, the Commissioner of Public Safety for Birmingham, Alabama, just rolled over and accepted that ban. In fact, they threatened to shut the schools down rather than integrate them. And scores of white families who didn't like the idea of their kids commingling with Black kids began to flee whatever schools were forcibly integrated en masse, leaving schools like the high school famously integrated in Little Rock, Arkansas, almost 100% Black. This white flight birthed the Christian right movement and fueled their push to create private, sometimes church-sponsored schools that became taxpayer-funded private schools imposing religious doctrines to a select class of typically middle-class or upper-class white students. These were more commonly known as segregation academies. And they became really common because the federal government helped enforce strict plans like busing and denying tax-free status to whites-only schools to continue combating segregation, which brings us to today. It's important to understand what the Department of Education does for you and your kids. Among the things it does is student lending, Pell Grants, something called IDEA, which is basically federal funding for families with children with disabilities, and Title I.
Trump said he's not going to be funding a goddamn thing. They closing it, baby, so that he can eradicate all these benefits that the lower class, the special class, and the unique class all have access to as a result of all this federal money going into these federal school systems, baby. He's going to regulate, baby. Trump is trying to make America broke and homeless as hell again.
This funding used only to ensure that all kids, regardless of income, can acquire a quality education. And they keep civil rights data on things like the levels of racial integration in schools. All of that is in danger. Trump's henchmen want to eliminate the Department of Education. They want to create block grants to funnel tax dollars to private and religious schools, to basically make white flight a taxpayer-funded benefit. They want to scale back enforcement of civil rights laws like Title IX, which prohibits gender-based discrimination. They want to enact a Parents' Bill of Rights modeled on Moms for Liberty, the book banning group. They want to take federal funding away from schools with curricula, books, or classes that address race, racism, gender, and sexuality. They want to eliminate school administrator positions that oversee DEI initiatives.
Now, y'all know Trump also just recently said at a rally, girl, that marriage is between man and woman. Okay, not man and man, not woman and woman, not any of those things, sugar. Okay, this is all whistleblowing and coded language to let you know what his version of America is going to look like. There's not going to be a lot of educated people on these streets. We already have a literacy issue, especially within the Black and brown community. That is going to be absolutely, profoundly, overwhelmingly, polarizingly escalated if they remove funding for the public school system. Imagine the literacy issue. Now, as a result of the destruction of the public school system, which impacts a basic level of education, a basic level of reading and writing, guess what that then bolsters? Guess what that manifests? A level of poverty. Because if people can't read and write and they don't have basic comprehension and critical thinking skills, people are not going to be as qualified for jobs. People are not going to be as qualified for employment. To make matters even worse, I forgot where the hell else I was going. But on top of a illiterate America that's going to have a larger unemployment gap as a result of the coming generation not having access to a basic level of education provided by a government that is federally funding that education, and an underclass who can't afford any alternatives because the underclass can barely afford the basic living essentials already, like rent and food and transportation, healthcare, etc. People are already living from nickel to dime and literally robbing Peter to pay Paul, which is why we have statistically seen a rise in crime, in theft, in criminality. And guess what is going to happen also as a result of people not being educated and people being disqualified for jobs as a result of a lack of education? Oh, it's going to create a rise in crime. And what I've never understood about the upper higher class and the upper echelon acting like they can afford to not give a fuck about the poverty issue and they can afford not to care about the well-being of people who don't have it is, who in the fuck you think is going to be targeted? If the haves have not, bitch, it's going to be the haves. Which is why all the motherfucking videos we've been seeing going viral of Black and brown children, Black and brown youth running up into who stores, girl? They're not running up into the Family Dollar stealing. They're running up into Gucci. They're running up into iPhone, girl, into the Apple store.
Come on, iPhone.
They running up, girl, and
come on, Brewster,
and ripping shit right from the shelves. And corporations are having to shut down their literal stores now. Walmart has even had to close multiple stores across the country because of the issue of theft. Hell, it's actually getting so bad that hell, CVS Walgreens are also closing down as a result of theft. So who do you think is going to be targeted if the haves have not? It's going to be your wealthy ass. It's going to be your Mercedes-Benz pushing ass. It's going to be your iPhone 17,000 carrying ass. It's going to be your middle upper class ass. So as far as I'm concerned, the poor has never been an issue we can afford, and damn sure never been an issue that we can afford to think doesn't directly impact any of our assets. Anything you want to insert before we go further?
You kind of said a lot of things I was gonna say, but in turn, like, I thought this would be more obvious for a lot of people. Like, when a community does not have resources, crime goes up. When people don't have access to education, crime goes up. Like, we literally talk about, and let's not forget, the school to prison pipeline. And I can tell you myself, a lot of the inmates, when you read the documents or the letters that they write, it's basic grammar errors. And you can tell that they haven't, not all, but a lot of them haven't had proper education. So there is a connection between education and crime. Hint, hint, Kamala Harris truancy laws. But yeah, you can start.
You see what I just put on the screen? Driving the news. Target, Walmart, Nordstrom, Macy's, CVS, and others have blamed losses from organized shoplifting for their decision to shutter stores, particularly in those lower class urban ass communities. Bitch, you think poor people rob poor people, ho? No. And have the audacity to have a classist system intact. Or it's going to be retribution, all right. No wonder who some of y'all want to be the president is talking about actually supporting a day of violence equivalent to the purge. Because once you uneducate folk and you put people in the level of struggle that's going to commit to violence of all kinds, the only thing else to do, right, is to employ the military to come in and bang, bang, pow, pow. Okay, and guess who's going to be doing the pow, powing? According to Project 2025, it's going to be all of our children, okay, who, you know, apparently successfully made it out of the last chapter of the public school system, who are going to be forced to do all of that domestic violence and terrorism upon their own people. Trump wants the day of violence because the day of violence is actually going to remedy the chaos that they are intentionally escalating and manifesting. Yeah. Because what else are you going to do with uneducated folk who are not qualified to for basic low-level jobs like that of a Dollar General, that of a Walmart, that of a fucking CVS, who are then going to respond to their primitive instincts to self-preserve themselves by way of theft, by way of murder, by way of homicide. How else? Because you can't at this point build and fund enough prisons to put all those people away. Let's remedy it through a day of violence, baby.
But let's not forget, Conscious, they want to take away the Target, Walmart, Nordstrom, Macy's, CVS's out of urban areas, but keep them in upper echelon areas. But let's not forget, because of certain parties and their agendas, to now we're going to make a big conversation surrounding DEI. So now, even when you go to get hired in certain places, you're going to be disqualified because you're going to be considered a DEI hire. Not the fact that you have credentials, not the fact that you may be qualified, not the fact that you might just a little bit have a common sense and and have the ability to be trained and be like, okay, you do this, do that, do this. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I got the job. Like, this is the reason why whenever we have this conversation about Donald Trump, it really irks my spirit, because the same group of people that literally have this pull yourself up by the bootstraps, especially when you are melanated of all kinds, that's ADOS, that's overseas, that's here, and that's over there. When you are melanated, you're going down right along with the rest of our motherfucking melanated asses. Yes, you may have a degree, but because of certain agendas that are put into place and actually being pushed up forth, you're going to be considered a DEI hire, which completely negates and disregards your credentials. You can continue.
And it's and they're going to eat their own, which is even more wild because those poor ass urban community inhabitants are just going to pooch their way on to the Upper East Side, baby, and commits to defending themselves by way of violence there. Okay? The issue literally just creates more fucking chaos. But maybe that's what they want, because they'll definitely be able to rewrite the history even more in support of white virtue, because Black people, who are not the only minorities in the country, but Black folk, as a result of responding to an issue, are going to then have our narratives controlled even more, because of the things we're going to be forced to do in the name of survival.
Yep.
And of course, you're going to be able to put even more legislation in place for the elite once you escalate the underclass into commencing to violence, not only against themselves and their own community, but against theirs as well, which leads to further extermination and protection of the upper class and more incentive and belief that we don't need an underclass at all. We don't need Black and brown people at all. We don't need these poor ass struggling folk who can't pull themselves up by their bootstraps at all. And I can only imagine what the legislation and what the laws would look like, because there are already states like Louisiana and so forth and Mississippi, bitch, where the politicians are commencing to pushing legislation that is equivalent to that which existed under Jim Crow. And you're going to see a massive sweep of that shit as these agents of chaos create this intentional chaos and affliction in order to circle it back around to the solutions that ultimately benefit them and their version of the world and their version of America. Okay? Moderators, please help always Chevy get her goat fucking old McDonald have a farm impregnated by a horse ass up out of here. Get this raggedy troglodyte ass bitch up out of my motherfucking chat. We don't do pale walkers here, ho. Oh, that bitch gonna be mad, baby, when the stream is still up, girl. Gonna be big mad. Now, back to Joy Reid, who's about to commence to more educating these low vibrational hoes.
Resurrect the discredited 1776 Commission with the single goal of restoring quote unquote patriotic education in schools, North Korea style. far more sinister is what's buried deep within Project 2025, which any person who sends their child to public school should care about. They want to mandate that all students in schools receiving federal funding must complete the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. In plain English, that's a military entrance exam. You heard me right. They want to require your kids to take a military entrance exam. If you flip to page 134 of the 900-page Project 2025 manifesto, you'll read this proposal, and I quote, "To improve military recruiters' access to secondary schools and require the completion of the Armed Services and Vocational Aptitude Battery, the military entrance examination, by all students in schools that receive federal funding." And guess who would be exempt from that requirement since they don't get federal funds? Private school kids. You feel me now? Look, my kids are grown adults, but do you feel comfortable having your babies handed over to the military industrial complex so King Trump can use and discard them like old shell casings? Maybe sign them up to use on American streets to shoot protesters because he's promised to do that. Or use them to round up brown migrants, to herd them off to the deportation camps that he's promised to build, or fight in his migrant fight club, or fight in some random war he starts to help out his friend Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un or whatever other madness he dreams up. Now, of course, Trump never mentions any of this because it's not exactly politically popular to tell the world you want to take money from poorer kids who want to go to college and take grants away from kids with disabilities and promote an education system styled on communist systems like North Korea, China, and Russia, or make school kids take a military entrance exam while letting the kids in segregation academies slide. But that's exactly what Trump and his Project 2025 friends want to do. Joining me now is Judd Legum, author of Public Information, and Megan.
Okay, so Trump is
Anything to do with school choice, but also separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
Anything to do with...
Wow. So, as a result of our stream last night, you know, I made a post about this post from its own site shared by T.S. Madison. And what had inspired me to get my ass up here today and to do my fair share of hooting and hollering is I wrote this on my community wall. Okay. What's funny is dummies of color are eager to vote for the same man that the KKK and Proud Boys are voting for. To make matters worse, Donald Trump, who has failed to distance himself from the infamous Project 2025, claims he has not read it, nor is it his office's vision, yet continues to cite verses from it despite denying his affiliation. Just as granting police officers qualified immunity is a Project 2025 mandate listed in its pages, so is defunding the public school system, along with censoring books about race, slavery, gender, and orientation. What's even more eerie is that Donald Trump keeps parading who he is and what's going to happen in the day of light. Yet raccoons are still bolstering him up while acting like Kamala Harris is the one who ran out of the White House with classified documents that she stored beside her toilet in her guest bathroom. Or she's the one with multiple felony convictions. Or she's the one who lied to the country for 3 months about COVID-19 before finally admitting it was here. Or as if she's the one sued for abusing a minor and cheating on her husband while pregnant. I mean, you would think she was actually Trump, bitch.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, my hope is that he goes full balls to the wall on the niggas who twerk their asses right on down to the voting booth in their do-rags and baby mama's cars, because I can't wait to not march for their nigga. Trump show them what it's like for massa to be back in the big house again since they need a daddy.
Girl.
Now, under this precious post was an unprecious bitch whose nappy ass pussy I could smell right through the damn screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Her name is Ren 1464. And she said, "You really took time to type all that which makes no sense. So who do we vote for? Because Miss Harris ain't nothing a damn thing for the people beside lie every chance she gets." So now we're here. And you know, this has been a question that has come up again and again and again. And my question has been exactly what the fuck is Trump gonna do for you ninjas? Is my question. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Kamala Harris just rolled out a black ass plan for black ass people about home ownership?
Wait, but
about entrepreneurship, funding, about forgivable loans and wealth creation, you know, pathways to high demand jobs and expanded education access and financial protections in the digital economy and decriminalizing cannabis and helping the black and brown community to actually capitalize monetarily and legally off of a system that we have been mastering since the discovery of cannabis and its usage in our communities, health equity and addressing medical debt, criminal justice reform and economic opportunities, and legal, once again, cannabis, affording housing, you know, financial literacy, you know, producing community events and outreach. What exactly is Trump gonna do for you ninjas? Because while y'all out here also talking about she not like us, neither is Trump, bitch.
wait, but no, Conscious, Trump is going to do a lot for them. Let's not forget.
Yeah, he's gonna lock their ass up.
He's going to
Make
lock
sure that
them
they don't have no
up.
CVS's and Targets to them.
He's going to give the cops qualified immunity.
He's going to make the prison system great again for Black Americans.
Because keep in mind, in the federal penitentiary, guess what? You get fed, you get clothes, you get hygiene products, you get canteen. Now you get dick in there too, but I don't know if everybody is.
You know that's what these niggas really
that,
want.
But however, that's also available. You get drugs.
That's what.
So yeah, like he'll most definitely do a lot. Well, actually,
that's what them niggas want to be.
Sometimes we also got to keep in mind too is that Trump, he's also the same person with the Central Five that wants to take your life. But yeah, but here's my thing in education.
Before you skip right there, remember where you about to skip at. I just want to say, in contrast to Kamala Harris's plan for Black and brown folk, Trump's agenda is to reinstate stop and frisk practices, cutting funding for urban education, and eliminating critical programs like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, which many Black families currently rely upon. So once again, my motherfucking question, how is what is Trump's non-FDA, non-melanated, non-ADOS ass gonna do for you ninjas while you ninjas have been obsessing about what exactly Kamala Harris is gonna do? Now that she done told you hoes what she gonna do, bitch, I'm still trying to figure out what y'all master and leader, Miss Donald Trump, big back Cheeto, is gonna do for you motherfucking ninjas. Go ahead, Reckless.
So I was gonna say this in terms of Donald Trump and the conservative party extremists or the whole party. What is different? Well, I know all Republicans and conservatives are not the same, but here's what I have to say to some of the talking points and discussions that I have seen going on. Now, the conversation is, let's talk about the topic at hand in terms of education. Education is very important. So one of the talking points or conversations surrounding the Department of Education in the political space, I hear things something along the lines of education is a scam. Now, the reason why this conversation is very important, and we have to defend the education of people, because like we said previously, there is a direct link to education and crime. Education and poverty, which leads to what? Crime. Which leads to what? Crime against who? Those who have it. Because if you don't have it, I don't have it, and I know the other person across me doesn't have it, why would I go attack them for something that they don't have? Obviously, I'm going to go to the people or the person or the communities that have it. But I forgot. Let's not forget, they want to give police officers qualified immunity. So when you do, no pun intended, when you actually do what they're expecting you to do, they already came ready for your black ass. So they want you to be not really being educated or knowledgeable, so you can't qualify for higher paying jobs or higher paying careers. Now, another thing about that as well too is that when people talk about education being a scam, and yes, there are portions of people that actually go to college or go to universities and get degrees and masters and all these things and end up not using them. But that does not mean you did not enter or go to college or go to these different universities and take anything from it. That does not mean that you didn't have one class where you learned something and next thing you know, you're using it for the rest of your life or using it throughout life. There are a lot of times inside of these classes that you may not need in that moment, but however, that does not mean that information will not come in use somewhere down the line. Like the same way I had to talk about education is a scam and you're taking all these unnecessary classes. In the moment, it may feel like an unnecessary class, but the reason why educational programs and universities want you to take all these different classes, like you like, why I got to take this class? This is not even my part of my major. Why is this going to be important to my degree and all these things? Is because they want you to be a well-rounded person, a well-rounded critical thinker. So the reason why, and also keep in mind is that philosophy controls your thoughts. Your thoughts control your mind. Your mind controls your behavior. Your behavior controls your habits, and your habits become a way of life. So race, the reason why they don't want to talk about race is because when people are aware or quote unquote woke or aware about race, then guess what? You become more aware about the stupid shit that you say and do. And not only that, with all of these systems, they have a covert and overt approach. And so when you become aware, then you are able to correct the bullshit that's going on around all of us. That's the reason why they don't want to talk about race, is because when the people are educated about race, then guess what? These college students, or guess what? These children that may come from different backgrounds, when they come back home and visit their families, like, dang, y'all said that was like some racist stuff you guys said. Like, why would you say that? And also, too, another reason why they want to say education is a scam is because a lot of the times, too, even in PWIs, when these students go to different universities, you create a community around different types of people. You get exposure to different types of people, and you get the opportunity to open your eyes and actually experience different sectors of people in different sections in your life. And a lot of the times, too, when you do that, it exposes you to different backgrounds, and also it denies and negates the false narratives or stigmas and stereotypes that people have put on other groups of people to demonize them. That's the reason why they don't want to talk about race, so you can continue to be racist either covertly or overtly, and you don't know it. And also, too, if you're not aware, you can't correct the people around you, or even the systems that will be put into play. The reason why they don't want to talk about feminism is because they still want to be misogynistic. I.e., the reason why we have to talk about Roe v. Wade is because when they push these agendas, guess what? They're pushing these agendas that are going to affect women's bodies, which are going to also affect everybody else. Because the thing about it, they're talking about they want to give it to the states, but here's the gag. You may give it to the states, but guess what? That's the exact same argument that the Confederacy versus the Union had about slavery. Giving it to the states. And then not only that, is that when you want to be misogynistic and then push agendas to reverse Roe v. Wade, just because you reverse Roe v. Wade, that does not mean that abortions are not happening. What that means is that the safety of abortions go down. That's what that means. So now you're also putting women into more danger. And then not only that, since we're going to talk about Project 2025, you're trying to get rid of different avenues to healthcare. So then you are also putting people more in debt with more medical bills.
Which you're going to have more medical issues because a part of the Project 2025 and the whole attempt to reverse Roe v. Wade also is a ban on contraceptions. Yep. How are you going to protect yourself from STIs and infections and STDs and sexually transmitted diseases without contraception?
Yeah. And so, but once again, this always happens because certain groups of people want the mass majority of the country to continue to be ignorant and not educated on said subjects. It's because when people are ignorant, it's easy to tell them anything and they're gonna believe you. Especially if you have on a suit and tie, because we all have been conditioned to abide by respectability politics. Because you look nice, you look like you know something, so you're probably telling the truth. Even though you could be bullshitting me the whole goddamn time. So yes, when you are not teaching people about feminism and understanding the covert and overt approaches and how it may be integrated into society, integrated into different agendas, political or not, integrated into different programs, integrated into social norms, integrated into the way of life and the way that we communicate, and not knowing about these things, then yes, it makes it easy to get over on all groups of people because you're not made aware. But however, when you're made aware, it gives you the opportunity to be able to combat said system. Same thing with sexuality and gender. The reason why they don't want to talk about those things is because they want to still have the ability to oppress and dehumanize queer people. That's the reason why. Because if we talk about and we demonize these people, it makes it easy for the other groups of people, the majority of the country, to continue to do the horrible things to queer people or marginalized groups of people, because it makes it easy for us, because they're not made aware, they're not educated on said subject, which impacts the lives of groups of people, which makes it easy for us to have a political agenda or any types of agenda to dehumanize them, which is going to desensitize them and strip these marginalized groups of people from their humanity. And then what we can do is push policies to do our bullshit. And the gag is that, guess what, you raggedy motherfucker? That's the same bullshit they do to melanated people all the motherfucking time. And the fact that we're sitting up here trying to make exceptions, that's some BS. That's BS. And I said this previously, is that if we allow women's rights to be taken away, queer people, melanated people, what the hell do you believe is going to happen next? Who do you believe is going to be next? Because if women don't have rights, then guess what? That's another group who doesn't have any sort of leverage to help us combat and keep us safe. So queer people, either, especially my trans and non-binary folks, you either before or you after them. My women, Same thing with y'all. You're either before or after us. Melanated people. Same thing with y'all, with all of us. We're either before or after all of that. So when you start to not really play by numbers, that's when you start to have a smaller army. And that's when you start to have people who are not contributing to different tactics to overcome said objective. Same thing with sex ed. The reason why they don't want sex ed taught in schools is because they want you to still be ignorant. And studies show when people are more educated in sex ed, teen pregnancy goes down, the exposure to different types of STDs, STIs goes down because people are more educated. Now, here's the gag, though, is that what the wool that they're going to pull over your eyes is because what they're going to do, they're going to show you numbers and they're going to show you statistics showing that, oh, we are teaching sex ed, but the gag is the sex ed that they are teaching, they're teaching sex ed that is no sexual contact at all, which is really not realistic. Now, I understand for a lot of people that may be ideal, but however, are we going to continue to deal with idealism or are we going to actually deal with reality? Because if we deal with reality, that's the first step in pushing forward in this country. What the hell you want it to be in terms of this picture perfect, what is right now, what is it? If we can get to reality and figure out what is, as in what is in 3D, what is the state of this nation, then we're able to push forward and really get the ball rolling. And case in point, there's a situation going on right now with a OF star. His name is Mandigo Gucci. He's under a backlash and he's involved in a scandal because he has been alleged of giving one of his collaborators a STD/STI. And when I was reading the comments, people were saying, oh, that's it. They were shaming the girl or whatever. And I guess because from what I understand, there were rumors surrounding his name. I don't know. I didn't hear about him. I don't know. But the gag is, I'm looking at the comment section. I'm like, so we're going to be the same groups of people that want to shame this person, but yet we're also the same groups of people that don't want sex ed taught in the schools, especially when a lot of the times a lot of parents are not even teaching the children about sexual education. And then when they do teach their children about sexual education, it's from a ideal understanding instead of talking about what is. Yes, in the beginning, God had Adam and Eve. And yes, God said, or you're going to do it like this, do it like that, instead of actually getting into the nitty gritty of this is what this STD, STI looks like. These are the signs. These are the this, and this is all the. The thing is, when people are not made aware and people are not educated on something, it makes it easy to be fucked over. So it was just a gag to me that people were sitting up here trying to shame this woman. And I can understand part of it because, like, you are a collaborator, which means before you collaborate with somebody, you need to be getting tested. But I don't know the nuance of what conversations that were had, but it was just a gag that you're shaming this woman for catching something, but we're also the same community same country, there we go, that doesn't want sexual education taught into the schools where, guess what, gag is, because it's so interesting to me that we are able to understand that the schoolhouse is a place where people are supposed to learn. So guess what? The gag is, bitch, that you may also need to learn about sexual education. The same way we also need to learn about money and finances and the true history of this nation. So that's just the gag. And also let's be very clear too and talk about some of the deceptive tactics that they have used. People have used politically. where they weaponize the word woke. And the reason why they weaponize words and terminology like the Black Lives Matter movement in terms of using the reaction of Black Lives Matter as a way to deflect from the real issue and cause. So they don't want to talk about the actual root. They want to talk about the symptoms or talk about the aftermath or the effects. So you don't want to talk about the reason why people are rioting, but you want to talk about the riot. And, oh, it's just so messed up, but you don't want to talk about why people are rioting. Because if you get to the root, then the effect, the cause wouldn't even be a thing.
And let me jump in quick right there.
Yeah.
I want people to understand what the end game is. Because we have dawned upon the reality of a depopulation agenda.
Yeah.
And a protect the upper class agenda to make the world small again so that the world can be controllable again and manageable again and more easily exploitable, because it's not like they want to depopulate the earth for any righteous reason. It's all to just manage the resources in ways for them to fulfill their twisted fantasies and to execute their twisted worldview. Now, the reason you want to uneducate and defund public school systems, which lower class population depends upon, and you want that to lead to starvation and poverty, so that it increases violence, is so that you can justify their extermination.
Right.
The extermination needs justification. So if you have a large chunk, or 13% or 20% of the country starving, running around like chickens with their heads cut off for food, for shelter, for means to an end, you justifiably resolve that by way of violence, which is why Trump wants a real rough, nasty, and violent day of police retaliation in order to eradicate crime. Because going back to what Reckless is saying, see, Donald Trump is wearing his soul on his sleeve. He's wearing his apathetic dictatorship, elitist, diabolical nature on his sleeve for all to see. Now, if the Black and brown community, in particular, if urban communities already have an issue with over-policing and then corrupted policing, and then you have a man that some ignorant-ass melanated buffoons want to actually become their president, voting for this man to come into office, I really don't know how many which ways Donald Trump can tell you niggas he don't fuck with you hoes. I really don't know, because at this point, Donald Trump is just really all out saying it. The only thing he's not including in his rhetoric is
the N-word.
need to unalive black people. He doesn't even the word black out of it. With us already recognizing the way that Black and brown people are statistically and disproportionately impacted by over-policing, by police brutality, etc. Who in the fuck you think is going to be impacted? Not only are Black and brown folk in urban communities going to be impacted by a purge day that's centered around police retaliation, not community reform, not criminal justice reform, like all of Kamala Harris's plans, initiatives, and agendas, but are centered around resolving the issue of crime, which, like Reckless and I have been saying, you resolve by actually fixing the systemic issue, not by slapping a Band-Aid on the response to systemic issues, to systematic issues. You deal with the systemic issues. If people are able to afford everyday life, if people are able to work jobs that allow them to take care of their basic essentials and then a little bit more, You literally reduce crime almost entirely just by way of entitling that all Americans can afford, at the very least, a decent everyday living and lifestyle. But of course, Trump doesn't want that, because between defunding the public school education, creating a bunch of illiterate dummies that then become illiterate dummy criminals, you exterminate. And you not only exterminate those urban communities, you justify the extermination of their supporters as well. And when you get to the Roe versus Wade, the reason why they want to crack down on contraception and they want to crack down on abortions is because the white population is dying out and being replaced by the very minority communities that they will have to destroy in order to sustain what's left of their current population. Because the mixed race and the black and brown communities, we're all doing the numbers. But at the same time, cutting Roe versus Wade is in an attempt to keep black and brown people from reproducing, to not encourage the replication of black and brown people, and to, of course, placate to white folk and their elitist counterparts to once again continue to sustain their numbers so that they can sustain control. This is a very dark future of America ahead. And on one hand, I was terrorized. I was initially shocked by Project 2025. I was even more shocked when Trump actually started quoting out of Project 2025 and actually made it real. But then a part of me was relieved, because the truth is now in plain sight. It now has been made real. The end game has now been made real. These are no longer urban myths. These are no longer the ideals of conspiracy theorists. These are no longer the ideals of people with wild imaginations. Our real life chess players and puppet masters are gearing up to legally overtake the country and to decide who's the who and who's not. At this point, this is not even just about Trump. This isn't about an entire league and a community of people who plan on using and seizing political power to afflict those at the base of the pyramid, and of course to ultimately control the majority as a whole. And that response that Kamala Harris got when she entered into this presidential race is because everybody knows what's happening. Everybody knows what's happening but a few dummies. Hispanics know what's happening. White boys know what's happening. White women know what's happening. Black men largely know what's happening. Black women know what's happening. Everybody fucking knows it. Everybody knows it. But Trump also has a massive following who he gaslights and who he triggers and arouses, and they are doing their fair share to make sure that Project 2025 becomes all of our reality, that Trump and his administration and his friends and pals, that their vision for this world becomes all of our reality, that it becomes our overhead, And these people are literally going to attempt to contort the literal Constitution itself. I really don't think people have really internalized how committed and how well detailed their plan is to literally create an entire reality, an entirely different system, an entirely different foundation for laws in and of themselves. Now, we have survived our fair share of elections, and we always hear this is the most important, bitch. This so far, hands down, absolutely is one of the most significant presidencies in fucking history. And this is not about a woman. This ain't about color. This ain't about a black person. This is literally about one candidate who wants to protect the least versus one candidate who wants to protect the majority. And it's really idiotic that a lot of these simple assholes have made this shit about everything else but just that. They've made this about their misogyny. They've made this about their anti-blackness. They've made this about their sexism.
Yeah.
They've made this about their racism. They've made this about everything else. This race ain't about a woman versus a man, a person of color versus a white person, a non-person of color, a Jamaican Indian. This ain't about ADOS. This ain't about FDA, bitch. This is literally about one party protecting the majority and the other party protecting the least. We outside now, bitch. We in the end games. Avengers, we in the end game, bitch. This is the end game. This is the end game. People can't even afford a Happy Meal. So we know that the majority can't afford a passport and a plane ticket out of this motherfucker. Unless you're gonna steal the plane too, bitch. While y'all still out of CVS and Target and Walmart, bitch, y'all gonna steal the plane too, bitch.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is what I try to focus on every time I do have this conversation, is that for some people, I do hear this. I hear things along the lines of Trump won't have the ability to do all of these things because we have a checks and balance system. And yes, in different times and at different times, yes, we had a perfect checks and balance system. But the gag is that right now in Congress, it's heavily conservative, heavily Republican. The Supreme Court is heavily conservative, heavily Republican. So I understand that all Republicans and conservatives are not born equal, and they all do not hold the same values at the same degree. But however, I will say this, is that it might be more a big issue if you also have a president who is a Republican and or conservative, whichever terminology you want to use. So it makes it easier, not saying that some things may still not come through, because of course some Republicans will be like, okay, I'm not voting for that. But it would make it easier for certain bills to be passed from Congress. It has to go through the president, who has the veto power to say yay, nay, rewrite it. I'm not really messing with it. We're going to veto the hell out of this. and vice versa. So this is something big, especially when the president, at least with Donald Trump, he was putting certain people in places. So yeah, this is very big. You can continue.
I'm looking at something.
Oh, okay. Well, in the meantime, y'all make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. It really does help out with YouTube's algorithm. So please thumbs up, because I don't know what his notification system is looking like. But 9 times out of 10, Consciouztv went live 40,000 times. So his notifications are typically shot. So when you guys thumbs up these videos, it does get sent out to other Conscious Crew members and lets them know that he is live, he is present, and he is speaking and talking that ish. So with that being said, then they want to come up in here.
Yeah, it's already happening. Like, people talking about what the fuck they don't have the power to do. They literally reverse Roe versus Wade. Once again, in states across the board, girl, your local senators, mayors, and politicians are running amok on anti-Black laws and legislations. We're talking about a reality. Most of the shit in Project 2025 can be done. Hell, even Candace Owens didn't refute it. Candace Owens is also for the defunding of that federal money to public schools.
I can't stand her cashew head ass. She irks my motherfucking spirit with her boot-licking ass.
People said that, you know, they're voting for Trump because of the money issue. You know, Trump didn't greenlight those stimulus checks either.
That comes
he actually halted them. And then halted them and challenged the stimulus checks as a way to create chaos before he left office, because as we know, Trump left with a vengeance. Matter of fact, did not even want to leave, and challenged everything about losing the presidency, including blaming voters fraud, etc. Put the government into a literal chokehold that resulted into a shutdown. This is what this man is. Trump does not care about people. He does not care about the country. What Trump cares about is competing, and he cares about his ego. He cares about winning. He inherited a already rectified economy because of the work of the Obama administration, who repaired the damage that, what's that man's name? The president before Obama? George Bush did. And then took credit for the economy that a black ass administration put back together. Because of course, you know, the same underclass they want to get rid of is the same underclass that always is relied upon ultimately to fix.
I don't know why people are shocked.
Shit. And then after he attempted to veto the stimulus checks, and then ultimately was forced because his own people turned down on his ass. He then also took credit for that. Just like Trump has been campaigning, acting like he cares so much about the border and undocumented illegal immigrants coming into the country at influx. And we do have an influx of over 3 million undocumented illegal immigrants in the country during Joe Biden's run as president. However, what he also doesn't share is that he completely cock-blocked and halted the bipartisan deal that was meant to put 1,500 agents at the border wall for further border control and regulation. And as Kamala and Barack Obama has been saying, that was also campaign strategy because
he cares about his
Trump,
perception.
because Trump is competing, he cares more about running on a problem than an actual solution, because that bipartisan deal, had he signed it, had he greenlit it, had he supported his compadres in doing their part to make sure that we secured the border promptly, it would have actually been a display of him caring about the actual country and actually caring about the solution to the problems he's claiming he's sincere about solving. But of course, he didn't do that, because what's happening to the country, what's happening in the state of New York, what's happening to American people is not important to him. Trump is all about winning and being a puppet for the people that sign his motherfucking checks. And he has done nothing that has reflected a love, a sincerity, nor has he done anything that has reflected a competency. Hell, before we get to love, bitch, there's not even been a competency that has been on display. The same niggas that want to run down to the voting booth are the same niggas that Trump would have wanted to still be on death row, even if forensic testing and evidence would have cleared them like it did for the Central Park Five, who he said he still wanted persecuted, even after these men had been wrongly jailed for a crime they factually and objectively did not even fucking commit. And yet you got niggas running down to the voting booth to make America great again.
And so, to that point, and to that point of Trump taking credit, I don't know why people are so shocked that Donald Trump is doing what he always do. Hey, maid, I see you got on your maid outfit. He's a whole colonizer taking the credit for what another person has done. This is in their philosophy. So I'm not shocked. I'm really not shocked that he's doing what he always does. But I also want to talk about another gag. The gag is that I think is very interesting for those who want to vote for Trump because of the stimulus check, which are only the result and the product of Mr. 19 or Mrs. 19. And also keep in mind that those stimulus checks come from Congress because the president does not create laws or bills to get things passed. Those are two different branches of government. The president is the executive branch, which means they execute. They don't legislate or create. They execute. So, with that being said, but I also think it's very interesting that some people want to vote for Donald Trump because of said stimulus checks. But I think that's very interesting because a lot of these people, if you actually let them talk for a lot of the times, they want to demonize and talk about people in the industry and talk about how they're bootlicking and they're doing all of these demonic things and talking about how they're selling their soul. But last time I checked, if you actually listen to people with said in these said conversations here, they're willing to sell their soul for a little piece of money, sell their souls for stimulus checks, sell their souls for a few pennies and a couple of dollars. But you want to get online and also be in different conversations and demonize people in the industry for doing the exact same thing that you're willing to do right here, right now. Keep in mind too, and I will say this, and hear me clearly when I say this, and this is my personal experience. As everybody knows, I'm in the military. And under Trump, we got to that bag. We got paid lovely. But I'm not willing to gain a few more dollars for me, I'm not willing to have a few more dollars in my pocket if I know that a lot of the policies and the way that he operates is out of control. No, I'll be fine without a couple of those dollars. Now, also to keep in mind too, I probably only made that much only because of Mr. and Mrs. 19. But the gag is that the same way people want to demonize Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Jay-Z. I'm even going to go so far, even Diddy and all these other people for selling their soul and doing a lot of things for the industry for a couple of dollars in fame, but yet you're doing it for far less. Right now, the way I'm looking at y'all are like the Jaguar right, trying to demonize other people for doing something that you're already doing for much less. Let's not forget she was over here about to give her pussy lips to a Jamaican man for food, and she didn't have to do it. Same thing with her doing voodoo or trying to do rituals and stuff. But then you want to demonize other celebrities. And that's exactly what the same comparison that I'm seeing between her and the industry, the same comparison I'm seeing between the stimulus checks and the industry and the stimulus checks and the way that some people operate and the way that some people are thinking right now. Bootlicking son of a bitches.
Now, moving into Kamala Harris. I was watching, me and Reckless was watching her interviews that she did with 60 Minutes and Brett Baer. And I just thought it was interesting how I don't know, considering the evidence. Trump did not give you niggas $1,200. He didn't. He tried to keep you niggas from getting the stimulus checks that the rest of the government came together to ultimately hand out during Carisha relief. He didn't secure the border. Matter of fact, Trump used illegal immigrants and undocumented immigrants to build the Trump Towers and the rest of his estates, and blocked a bipartisan deal to put more regulation in place. He didn't give you money. He doesn't give a fuck about the border. He doesn't care about Black lives. Hello to qualified immunity in the face of being asked about Sonia Massey, unjustly killed Black woman by police. Okay, so now that we scratched off all of the things that niggas have been pedestalizing in order to justify voting for Trump, I'm not understanding what's left of the appeal. I still haven't heard one factually justifiable argument for the support of Trump. Not one. Because everything that people thought were facts about Trump, in fact, are not facts. And at this point, I don't understand the unnecessary demonization of Kamala Harris. I don't care that Kamala is not FDA or ADOS because neither is Trump. I'm okay with Kamala Harris being asked about what she's going to do for the Black community, which she just told you exactly what the fuck she plans on doing. I don't know why Trump and JD Vance aren't being equally ran down on, being asked specifically about what they're going to do for your Black cause. Well, maybe some of y'all don't feel the need to really ask him because he's already told y'all, I'm locking you niggas up. I'm giving retaliation days for police. I'm over policing your communities. I'm defunding your schools. I'm taking away your Medicaid, your Medicare, your Social Security. So that's what his platinum plan looks like. So I guess there really is no need to be asking his ass what he's going to do for your black eyes. I understand that Kamala Harris doesn't maybe have some of the spunk, some of the intimidating factor, you know, some of the things that might traditionally play into people being convinced. But put all that aside, bitch. Do you really need somebody being good at performing those things superficially, or do you need somebody intelligent enough and ballsy enough to actually do those things? Because as Kamala Harris keeps reminding us, contrary to her running mate, she's the only bitch that has actually locked up and prosecuted transnational drug lords and criminals. She's the only one, despite her laughter and her big old smile, that bitch ain't played no games when I nail one of you niggas as DA and as prosecutor, bitch. Her record speaks for the fact that you can let this laugh and this hee-haw fool you if you want to, bitch. That's why Hoez mad at her ass right now, right? Because she had a foot on Nigg3r-LESS. Even though she's been slandered and lied on about the context of some of the Nigg3r-LESS she's had a foot on. She's the only one, baby, who actually has the qualifications, has the experience, and has proven herself up to this point. And let's talk about the notion that why didn't she do these things while she was in office as VP?
Girl, she was the VP.
Because she is VP, you big dummy. Because she's VP, bitch. Historically, where and when has the VP ever done more or done just as much for the country as the actual president does, bitch? So why in the hell was Kamala Harris expected somehow to do more, even though this woman spent her time as VP doing a lot more than a lot of other VPs actually have done? Running all of that fucking funding for HBCUs, fighting for female reproductive rights, etc. Her job as VP wasn't to outshine nor to be fucking combative with the president, but to be a complement and a accessory to him, as all VPs technically are supposed to be. So, you know, if I were Kamala Harris, the way that I would answer those questions of, you know, are there anything you would do differently? You know, as VPs, anything you would do differently? Sitting up under Biden? No, bitch. I did what a VP does. I'm not here to criticize the president. I'm here to tell you what the fuck I'm gonna do as the baddest bitch in the Oval Office.
The HBIC.
Yeah, I played my submissive ass role, right? Hell, because it's so funny to me that black men on one hand want to call black women every type of masculine and men acting, but then you wanted this bitch to be a man. When she actually played the submissive role, when she played the background, when she allowed a man to lead, now she should have been leading. She should have been doing this. She should have been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me about what the fuck Biden has done. Y'all sit Biden ass down and you ask him I'm here to tell you what I'm gonna do as the bitch behind the actual wheel and not the bitch in the back seat. And I feel like those questions are superficial because it's really ultimately irrelevant now about what the fuck her criticisms are. You either like what she has laid out and her initial plans and what her initial initiatives are going to be, her initial agenda is going to be, or you don't. And the thing that I do like about Kamala Harris as well is that she's willing to work with both wings of the bird, the Republicans and the Dems. She is posturing herself as a leader who is interested in the collective and in coming together as a community. She's interested in hearing from both sides. And while we're here, let's talk about the FDA and ADOS. Putting more pressure on this woman to somehow cater to ADOS and FDA than any other fucking president. Because first and foremost, let's talk about the presidency realistically. Your first duty is first and foremost to wrinkle out the issues that impact the general public, which in our country is made up of a diverse general public. So even presidents of color still have to be presidents to all people. They can't be the president just for gays, just for trans, just for black folk, just for white folk. The actual reality is that presidents really take care of the general shit. Your mayors and your senators are the ones who get nuanced and very particular. They're the ones who have easier pathways to provide necessary resource and relief from the cities and states that you live directly and intimately in. I forgot where I was going. I was going to say something else. Oh, to the ADOS FDA shit. What's interesting to me about the argument from ADOS and FDAs is that on one hand, you want to completely and utterly establish that Kamala ass is not black. But then on the other hand, absolutely hold her 100% to task for catering to and providing for the black community. I don't understand. On one hand, they want to scream from the mountaintop, she ain't black, she ain't black, she not like us. So then what the fuck is the problem? Why are you even holding her to a scale, to a metric, to a commitment that you're reminding us is not even personal for her because it ain't her reality according to the rest of y'all? And then, since she's apparently not like us, if you're going to require her, nonetheless, to pay attention to the specific needs of FDAs and ADOS people, why not keep that same energy for Trump as well? Are ADOS and FDA necessities and well-being only important if a motherfucker has the complexion? Do ADOS and FDA needs and realities and desires and wants just all of a sudden go away if Trump is in office? Why specifically is Kamala Harris expected disproportionately to speak to and to devise plans to ensure reparations and everything else that Adolf and FDA folk are desiring, and not equal pressure is being put on her running mate, who could also become the leader of the alleged free world. There is, because I've seen it, I've listened to it for myself, there's an intentionality that goes into targeting Kamala. Because I have seen literally whole commentaries for hours on end that target her as it relates to FDA and ADOS without a single mention hardly of Trump, and why he should also be looking to and expected to resolve and do his part in resolving issues of ADOS and FDA folk. So when folk out here saying, you know, this is not about blah, blah, blah. Yes, it is. There is a misogyny, baby, that is loud in the room. There is a prejudice that is loud in the room. There is a bias that is loud in the room, bitch. And I'm too honest to act like I don't see it or smell it. Sorry. And when you only make the plight of Adolf and FDA folk something that Kamala should do something about, but not fucking Trump, and then have the audacity to claim you're not biased, and the audacity to claim that you don't support her nor you don't support him, but you don't even have no equal smoke for him as it relates to his ass, not mentioning the FDA, not mentioning ADOS. Ain't got nothing in his talking points that are about resolving issues for foundational Black Americans. Something is up. I don't know what's up. Something is up, baby. And the fact that you niggas claim to care even for foundational Black Americans and the descendants of slaves in this country and are not more polarized by the fact that Trump is literally out here talking about not protecting Black people, literally talking about not doing so, literally pushing policies that literally directly impact the well-being and the quality of life for both people of color in this country and ADOS persons is fucking insane. The fact that there is no adverse reaction to Trump, who is blatantly and openly talking about discarding Black lives and Black bodies and protecting the people that discard those Black bodies and Black lives. You're not going to tell me that it makes more sense to be upset about a hypothetical presidency that we haven't even seen enacted yet by a woman who hasn't even become president yet. That it makes more sense to rumor mill and to fearmonger about a presidency that hasn't even happened yet by a woman who hasn't even been the president yet than it is about a man that's already had a presidency that was completely indulged in by the KKK, by the wealthy, by the elite.
January 6th.
Who is out here campaigning for a second time and explicitly all out saying to the world, which black folk are in, that he don't give a fuck about our poor urban asses. He wants a day of violent policing. He wants to reverse the Constitution. He wants black and brown people to not be educated. He wants his white counterparts to not be properly educated about the reality of the history of America. The fact that this man is talking about decentralizing education and job opportunity. The fact that this man is talking about giving qualified immunity to police officers who right now are claiming the lives of innocent black and brown people. The fact that this man blocked the little bit of money that you niggas had to put toward rent any fucking way. Y'all act like y'all had $1,200 to go spend on rims and Jordans when even that $1,200 had to go toward an issue that he helped to create and an issue that he ultimately lied about. Something is really wrong with these niggas. Something is. Something is literally intellectually, academic, and spiritually wrong.
You better preach.
With niggas. Like, truly wrong. I don't know how much clearer the issue has to be. The plight has to be. I don't really know how more outside Donald Trump can be. I don't. So at this point, what it's given is that, you know, the crumbs from master's table is better than learning freedom in the promised land. It is literally at this point giving Stockholm syndrome. It's literally given, I don't want to be in Egypt, but at least I'm familiar with Egypt. I know how to navigate Egypt. I don't know shit about the freedom that comes with the wilderness. I don't want the burden and task of re-envisioning and recreating a system from scratch. Sounds good, but I'm going to stick to the abuse and the oppression and the violence and the dysfunctionality that I'm in fact used to. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, Poindexter, I expect you to vote for Trump. I expect folk with your complexion to do what y'all do. This is a black ass conversation. I think you found yourself in the wrong part of YouTube, girl. Like this is the black section of the restaurant, baby. This is the black water fountain today. All lives don't matter today, baby. This is the black section. This is the smoking section, bitch. I don't care nothing about what your people do. This message for my folk. Particularly for our men. and the bastardized ass women who are in the second place who follow behind they low grade asses. Don't even block. Let Trump supporters make the chat great again as well. Because baby, the engagement is what we need. Anything else, Reckless, that you want to add to said situation before we tie this thing up?
No, ma'am.
Black men. Matter of fact, hold on, let me read. Because baby, I think I saw some comments that were getting into the ass of black men underneath that same post. Let me see some here. Let me see some her. Let me look under this post again. Let me do the. Okay, yeah. One conscious crew member says, "This just infuriates me. Doing spiritual work over the years, I can tell you the real curse of any kind is on black men in America back to Africa for centuries now. It's a curse of self-sabotage and sabotaging their partners and communities. It's partial reason as to how we're in this mess today since the diaspora began, but people don't want to hear it and fight." Another user says, "Many of the ones who talking ish about Kamala can't vote any damn way due to their felonies," in all caps.
Yeah.
Let me see some of the comments under the comment that initially got me up here. Someone said, "Baby, you should have just sat quietly and ate your food." Someone else said, "How are you saying it doesn't make sense when he cites literal documents that can be pulled? Have you even read up on Project 2025? And what did 45, who was actually president, done for you?" Once again, this is the question I have. What did Trump do for ninjas? What? Okay, Kamala lied about being black. Donald Trump lied about being competent enough to run the entire country. Donald Trump lied about the platinum package that niggas never got.
You better preach.
Trump lied to his pregnant wife while he was in the puss of a corn star. Donald Trump lied to the country for months about Consciouztv.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about the line. I don't have a problem with the who's lying, but don't disproportionately single out Kamala Harris' baseless, shallow-ass lies. Because let's keep it clear, I'm not voting for her ass because she black, nor because she had a black-ass grandmammy. I'm voting for her ass because she is a more competent individual in that position than a ratchet-ass felon. Okay? Because, see, guess what? If you have been convicted of 34 felonies, you're not also a truth teller by far.
Yeah.
You're not a truth teller by far, bitch.
Yeah.
If you have been convicted of 34 fucking felonies.
Yeah.
And y'all out here talking about she lied about having a black grandma. What the fuck is that supposed to mean to me compared to a motherfucker running the country who got 34 felonies when felons don't even have the right to even fucking vote, yet alone have the right to be the president? It's a hypocrisy of our motherfucking democracy, baby.
Lied about everything. Lied about Consciouztv. That took a lot of people out of here. And then made profit.
Poindexter girl, he don't got nothing to say about that. all he can repeat is Kamala is a liar. Can we all say in the chat, y'all, Donald Trump is a liar? Everybody put Donald Trump is a liar in the chat, girl.
Girl.
He can't even speak to his leaders' lies. He can't even speak to his leaders' convictions. He can't even speak to his leaders' infidelities. He can't even speak to his leader hauling out of the White House with classified documents, storing them near his goddamn toiletries.
Girl.
Y'all got one Kamala Harris lie bitch.
And the gag is that he made fun
a laundry list of lies by a convicted felon.
And it's just the fact that he made it a big deal about.
And the gag is y'all gave a whole man of color hell,
girl,
who had a prestige background, was highly educated, along with his first lady, who was not some lesbian corn star in her past to get on, but actually respected the law, got a proper education, and earned their way to the White House, and yet are completely removed from a white criminal.
Come on, bootlicker.
A pale bankrupted criminal.
Come on, bootlicker.
A pale. No, this ain't even a bootlicker, because I'm talking to the white man in the chat.
Mm.
You know, so he just white. You know, bootlickers is only what niggas do. See, y'all would have never argued like this on behalf of Obama had he had the audacity to have been impeached or convicted while in office. But baby, all of a sudden now. But you know, that's also the gag, Reckless, is that Kamala Harris got in trouble. Not really in trouble, but she got backlash as DA and prosecutor for San Francisco for trying to reduce criminality by revving up truancy, which leads to education, which directly leads to a lack of criminality, and by creating various plans and pathways for criminals to get back on their feet after making a mistake due to the systemic issues in their communities. Yet, she got pushback. She got pushback because she wasn't going harder. But yet, members of the same country and community don't mind an actual felon running the country. One bitch got dragged for having the audacity. Got dragged for not being tougher on crime. And yet, hey, let's vote a criminal, baby, into office. Baby, this why you just got to do whatever the hell you do. Because, baby, you will let, as a leader, as a person in power, baby, you will let the schizophrenia and the bipolarism of society, baby,
drive
make
you
mentally ill, bitch. If you get out here trying to understand these bombastic ass motherfuckers, bitch, you just have to just do what you are called to do. You just got to do it. I think you were trying to say something.
Yes, because I think it's also very interesting how Donald Trump was, when 2016 really was Hillary Clinton, really on Hillary Clinton's neck about her emails when, sir, let us fast forward. Wasn't your fuck ass literally just putting all the files and documents into your box that had your pink slip in that bitch, and you put it by your goddamn toilet where you took your shits at, bitch? Like, what the fuck? And then not only that, you're able to communicate with dictators, sir. So what the fuck? It's the pot calling the kettle black around this bitch. I'm just saying.
I found a cute little article that we can trigger the Trump supporters up with, because I just love that they here. Oh, I could have kept that picture. Let's keep that picture because that's triggering enough. Okay. You know, CNN found did a cute little write-up. Fact check 12 completely fictional stories Trump has told in just the last month, bitch, just the last 30 days.
30 days.
Harris and the military draft. At a rally in Las Vegas last week, Trump claimed that his Democratic opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, is talking about forcing Americans to serve in the military. Quote, she's already talking about bringing back the draft. She wants to bring back the draft and draft your child and put them in a war that should never have happened. That's absolutely debunked. Harris is not talking at all about bringing back the damn draft. Okay, but this is the king of fake news. Harris's CNN interview. Trump claimed during a Fox News event in Pennsylvania in early September that Harris had notes to assist her during the television interview she did with CNN in late August. He even performed an impression in which he portrayed Harris supposedly looking down at those notes. She didn't actually have any notes. Transgender children in schools. At an event held by a conservative group in late August, Trump claimed that schools are sending children for gender-affirming surgeries without their parents' knowledge. He said, quote, the transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child. Trump's campaign subsequently made clear to CNN that it could not find a single example of such a thing having ever happened anywhere in the damn United States. Parental consent is required. Might I add?
Girl.
Hold on. This page just paged.
Come on, paged.
It's required. Parental consent is required for gender-affirming operations. Schools have not performed or approved these surgeries for minors behind their parents' backs. Even after Trump's campaign demonstrated that it couldn't substantiate the story, he repeated it days later at a Wisconsin rally in early September, just like he did about the alleged illegal Haitians eating up the town's dogs and cats. Harris and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Trump told a vivid story on Fox News in late August about how President Joe Biden supposedly sent Harris to negotiate with Russian President Vladimir Putin in 2022 in an effort to prevent an invasion of Ukraine. Trump claimed Harris was sent to see Putin in Russia 3 days before the attack. She went, she said. She gave her case. He attacked 3 days later. He attacked 3 days later. He laughed at her. He thought she was a joke. Trump also told a version of the story at the September debate. But this story, too, is wholly preposterous and completely and utterly false. Biden never sent Harris to negotiate with Putin. In fact, the Kremlin said in July that Harris and Putin have never spoken. Not him saying she went over there to negotiate with his ass, girl, and then turning around out of the same line ass infidelity, 34 convicted felon ass neck, and fucked up his own narrative by saying they never spoke. And Harris did not travel to Russia just prior to the invasion. Rather, Harris traveled to the conference in Germany to meet with U.S. allies, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Harris's identity. Trump claimed at a convention of Black journalists in late July that Harris used to only promote her Indian heritage, then all of a sudden made a turn and became a Black person. Defending the claim, Trump reiterated at the September debate that Harris had put out at some point that she was not Black. None of that is actually true. Harris was raised in a Black community and graduated from a historically Black university, has embraced her Black identity since her youth. While she has also fondly discussed her South Asian heritage, she has never put out that she wasn't Black. Harris's 2020 primary performance. Trump has repeatedly claimed during the last month that Harris was so unpopular when she previously ran for the presidency in 2019 that she was the very first candidate to drop out of the crowded Democratic primary. Quote, she was one of 22 people that ran. She was the first one to quit, he said at a Pennsylvania rally in late August. Not even close. In fact, 13 other Democratic candidates dropped out of the race before Harris did, including the sitting or former governors of Washington, Montana, and Colorado, the sitting mayor of New York, and sitting or former members of the House of Representatives and the Senate. And I'm going to add the tidbit that he actually endorsed her running and cut her a campaign check. How about that? Opinions of Roe versus Wade. Facing heavy criticism from Harris and others for appointing 3 other Supreme Court justices who overturned the Roe v. Wade abortion rights decision in 2022, Trump concocted a tale that the unpopular decision fulfilled the wishes of everybody, including every Democrat. Quote, every Democrat, every Republican, everybody wanted Roe v. Wade terminated and brought back to the states, Trump said on Fox News in late August. This is not even remotely accurate. Roe was consistently supported by a majority of the American public, and it was overwhelmingly popular amongst Democrats with 80% support or better amongst Democrats in many polls. Yikes. Elections in California. At a September press conference in California, Trump claimed that, quote, if I ran with an honest vote counter in California, I would win California, but the votes are not counted honestly. He had delivered an even more colorful version of the claim in an interview in late August, saying, quote, if Jesus came down and was the vote counter, I would win California, okay? More rubbish. The votes are counted honestly in California as they are in every other state. Trump loses California because it is an overwhelmingly Democratic state that has not chosen a Republican president candidate since 1980 goddamn 8. He lost the state in 2020 fair and goddamn square by more than 5 million votes and more than 29 percentage points. Yikes! A Man of the Year award in Michigan. Since 2016, Trump has told a lie that he was named Man of the Year in Michigan before he entered politics. Media outlets, including CNN, have repeatedly noted that Trump never got such an award and that the award doesn't even appear to actually exist. But Trump claimed a Michigan event on Tuesday that he has now been vindicated. Quote, press said, oh, it never happened. Well, then it did happen. They found out where it was, Trump said, but it was like 15 years ago. A beautiful area, but nobody remembered it. Nobody remembered it at all. All of a sudden, like through America, they found out it did exist. That's a lie on top of a lie. The media has not discovered proof that Trump got a Michigan Man of the Year award. His campaign didn't even respond Wednesday to a request to explain what in the hell he was even talking about.
Girl.
Migrants. I'm getting my entire. But Kamala lied about her grandma being black. Migrants, prisons, and the Congo. For months, Trump has told a story about how the Congo has deliberately emptied prisons to somehow get its criminals to come to the United States as migrants. Quote, many prisoners let go from the Congo and Africa, rough prisoners, he said at an August event in Arizona, at an August rally in Pennsylvania the week after. He said, quote, in the Congo and Africa, 22 people deposited into our country. Where do you come from? The Congo? We're in the Congo. Jail? Wow. But Trump has presented zero evidence that the Congo has actually emptied any prisons for migration purposes. Representatives for the governments of both the Democratic Republic of Congo and the neighboring Republic of Congo have told CNN on the record that the claim is completely fiction. Experts on the two countries say they have seen no evidence it is true, and the Trump's campaign has ignored, of course, requests to offer any substantiation. The jobs revision. After the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics announced in August that its annual revision of the jobs data found that the economy added about 818,000 fewer jobs than initially reported for the 12 months ending in March, Trump told a story about how the government had been planning to announce this downward revision, quote, after November 5th, election day, but was forced to do so because of a whistleblower, a patriot leaker. Another fabrication. The Bureau of Labor Statistics regularly releases the preliminary revised data in August, and it had disclosed the precise date of this particular data release on August the 21st, weeks in advance. William Beach, a conservative economist who was appointed by Trump to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics, wrote on social media, quote, for those who think the big revision to the BLS jobs numbers leaked and was meant to come after the election, remember that BLS always announces its draft revisions in August and announced this year's date, August 21st, many months ago. It is important to check your what, you class? Your fucking facts. You know, so just only 12 lies Trump told in 1 month. Okay? That's just only the lies Trump has told the last 3 weeks, girl. Okay? Just that. Anything you have to say about your lying ass ex-president circling the block for a second time while niggas are actually entertaining and trying to legitimize and substantiate and make Big Back Cheeto, you know, a credible contender for the Oval Office? Anything got to say about that, Reckless?
The one of the few things I do have to say that they need to get their shit together, and Donald Trump needs to slam dunk his ass up in the federal penitentiary. At this point, I just see people for who they are and for what it is. There is misogyny and sexism that is very much present in this election. It's very much present. Now, I will say when I first got there, I really didn't see it, but then as time started to progress, I'm like, I'm trying to see what's so much of the pushback. And my thinking was, it wasn't so much of the pushback itself. It was very much the pushback, so much pushback for her, but then there wasn't the same energy and the same amount of effort given pushback to Donald Duck Trump himself. So like, it was like, girl, what the, like, something else seems to be going on here. Because even when I've even said myself, like me and you talking, I'm like, something else is going on here. Like, it doesn't feel as if this is just people's authentic feelings and reasons. I feel like the reasons and explanations that people would typically give on said platforms would be just more of cover-ups. Not saying that they're not valid, but there would be more of cover-ups, but they wouldn't actually get to the root of saying, okay, the main reason why is because yada 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 yada. And the dead giveaway is that she locked up all these black men for marijuana, but then you run into the arms of a man that's finna want to execute you. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? That's it.
Girl, just a brief reminder that even during the presidential debate with Harris, the polls, according to jsonline.com, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, the poll tells us that the presidential race is close. Even in Wisconsin, Kamala Harris's 4-point edge over Donald Trump is still within the margin of error, and analysts say it comes with a number of caveats. If you're still undecided after Tuesday's debate, I need you to consider two numbers, 30-1. During the 90-minute debate, former President Donald Trump made more than 30 false claims compared to Vice President Harris's 1. In other words, if you still haven't made up your mind, the matter comes down to whether you want your next president to lie to you or tell you the goddamn truth. Let's not also forget that during Trump's 2024 presidential debate against Joe Biden, Trump told 57 lies compared to Biden's 9. Trump just masterfully and effortlessly lies. It's just in his nature to do so. Okay? That's just what Trump does. Just like he lied about the border. He's the one who has complicated the U.S. borders. He lied about the stimulus. He's just lied about no affiliation to Project 2025 while talking about defunding the public school, the public education system, talking about censoring curriculum around race and slavery, which are all Project 2025 mandates. I mean, it's just a misinformation campaign, and then the obsession with ADOS people to dequalify Kamala Harris for me, girl. Yes, Palace. I had to do it, baby. Okay, I had to make that thumbnail. Had to make America Great Again, girl. Okay, I wanted to make sure that the title and the thumbnail made America Great Again, baby. Okay, from this point on, girl, it will be off the chain thumbnails and titles, baby. Okay, something like my food expert said, honey, the best to ever do it. You know, this is an open and shut case. Once again, niggas are in a trauma bond with Trump because they can probably identify with his felonies, with his love for underage persons, with his cheating and scandalizing to get to the top, and his apathy and his misogyny and patriarchy, girl. I'm not really surprised that there's a sector of black men, baby, okay, who are going to vote for the reflection in the mirror, which is what the hell Trump is to a lot of these low-grade ninjas to begin with, baby. I'm not surprised, baby. Have at it. This race is super close. You guys do have a choice between a candidate who will tell you the truth, a candidate who wants to actually listen to both sides, who actually is open to collaboration, who is by far, okay, knocking integrity out of the park compared to her opponent, wide back cheater Trump, okay, who was just going to lie, baby. And then the truths he is going to tell you, girl, are so diabolical and hideous and hellish that in and of itself should inform your choice, such as him wanting to give qualified immunity in the face of Sonia Massey's homicide at the hands of police. Such as him wanting to defund the public school system, which to all of my black and brown people who are already struggling with childcare and who rely on the public school system to do their fair share of feeding your child and supervising your child for those 8 hours out of the day while you have to be on the plantation, you know, doing what you have to do to put food and roofing on the table, baby. You know, or if it's him, hell, if you're a woman, stripping you of your reproductive rights. You know, him wanting to raise the taxes on the poor while Kamala Harris is wanting to raise them on the wealthy. Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, the truth he's telling should be a problem. You know, so funny, Trump literally got his back both up against the front wall and the back wall. The truths he's telling are horrendous, and the line is horrendous. Once again, I'm not understanding where black men think they come into the equation at. You know, instead of making Trump your daddy like y'all did Kevin Samuels, I would just rather y'all go ahead and put y'all blood into Ancestry.com and find the fuck out who your daddy is. I'm tired of y'all making these criminals and these misogynists y'all goddamn daddies and y'all goddamn leaders. I would much prefer y'all to just go ahead, baby, and put a private investigator on it to find your actual daddy, because these daddy fractures that you ninjas got, baby, they got y'all out here voting out of both sides of y'all necks, both sides of y'all do-rags, both sides of y'all missing ass hairlines, girl. They got y'all all types of fucked up out here in these streets. And black women are divesting, and black queer people, baby, are outperforming you motherfucking niggas, and you niggas are literally going to be forced to exist on a lonely ass plantation with y'all massa Trump, Big Daddy, and if that's what you want, y'all can have it, sugar. Okay. But I just wanted to do this live stream with my co-host Reckless to just show you niggas how weird you are. And how, you know, at this point, there's nothing, honestly, that can be done. I guess, you know, the few black men that are going to call themselves champion behind Trump are just the reprobates of the community, baby. Okay, these are not people who, you know, can adhere to facts. You know, they're not reasonable. They're not sensible human beings. You know, like there's nothing that can be done with these folk. You know, these are the folk that Trump actually wants to assign the military to blow the heads off of. So I'm just going to go ahead and shout out my baby mothers who contributed and supported and sponsored this here live stream. You know, we always have sponsors, baby, because I love you guys a long time. And of course, you know, you guys can donate to $Consciouztv on Cash App and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv, spelled just like it is here. Okay, shout out to my baby father, Deshaun, for the old nasty piece of child support check. Shout out to my baby mother, Dominique, and my baby mother, Kathy, for the old nasty child support check. Baby, I love y'all a long time, honey. Y'all why I do what I do. Reckless. Remind these folk, baby, of where they can find your ass out here on these streets.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Nigg3r-LESS Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please, please, please smack that notification bell so do not miss any more posts from us. My name is Reckless Logic. You can find me on Instagram at Reckless Logic. Also, you can find me on YouTube. As of currently right now, every time I'm trying to do content, they're always pushing me at different places for missions and stuff. But that is my YouTube channel as of currently right now. Good girl.
That's Reckless with 2 C's, y'all. Okay. C stands for coochie.
Okay, time to go, y'all.
Coochie and catchy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thumbs up, subscribe, and we will see y'all in the next installation. Y'all be blessed, baby. Bye-bye.
Bye.